Imagine surviving the end of the world twice. One blinding flash, a roar louder than any storm, cities erased in seconds, and somehow you're still alive. But before you can even process the miracle, fate whispers. Round 2. His name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old engineer for Mitsubishi, precise and soft-spoken. The kind of man who never turned up to work without perfectly combed hair. He was in Hiroshima on a business trip, wrapping up his final day before heading home to Nagasaki. That morning, the air felt heavy but calm. The cicadas sang their endless summer chorus. Then, at 8:15 a.m., a lone American bomber appeared in the flawless sky. He glanced upward. There was a flash, not sunlight, not lightning, a light so white it was almost soundless. And then, heat, like the air itself had turned into boiling metal. Before he could scream, the shock wave hurled him into a potato field, tearing his clothes, burning the left side of his face and arm. When he opened his eyes, Hiroshima was a flaming, collapsing skeleton of a city. The mushroom cloud towered above him, blocking out the sun. Somehow, he was breathing. Barely able to walk, Yamaguchi staggered toward a train station that no longer looked like a train station. He passed shadow marks burned into walls where people once stood. That night, he collapsed in a bomb shelter, listening to the distant cries of the dying. The next day, against all odds, the trains were running. He boarded one, bandaged, deaf in one ear and reeking of burnt flesh, heading home to Nagasaki. To him, it was safe ground. It would be his place of recovery. Incredibly, Yamaguchi went to work. When his boss asked about Hiroshima, he described the blast, the fire, the sheer obliteration of an entire city in seconds. His boss scoffed. One bomb can't destroy a whole city. And then, a flash, a roar. This time, Nagasaki. He was 2 miles from the hypocenter, far enough to avoid instant vaporization, close enough to feel the world break again. Glass exploded around him. Walls fell. The office became a tomb of dust and screams. Stumbling outside, he saw people whose skin hung from their bodies like melting wax. Flames devoured buildings as if racing to beat the sky's falling ash. He'd escaped Hiroshima by sheer luck. Now, standing in Nagasaki's ruins, it felt like luck had a dark sense of humor. You know what's harder than surviving one nuclear apocalypse? Remembering to like and subscribe before the second one hits. Yamaguchi was now suffering from burns, radiation exposure, and shock, but he refused to die. Doctors expected him to last only a few weeks. Instead, he lived on for 65 more years. In the decades after the war, he became Japan's only officially recognized double-Hibakusha, a survivor of both atomic bombings. He spoke publicly about his experience, not with bitterness, but as a plea for nuclear disarmament. When he described the bombings, he didn't focus on his own survival. He spoke about the smell of burning flesh, the silence after the screams stopped, the cities that became graveyards. And he warned, the world should never have to experience this again. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story isn't just about survival, it's about endurance against odds so impossible they sound like fiction. In less than a week, he saw 2 suns rise and destroy 2 cities and still managed to walk forward. If one man can survive 2 ends of the world, maybe we can face the storms in our own lives. But more importantly, maybe we can choose not to create the storms that no one should ever have to survive. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.